9 p.m. on January 24th, 2024. This is CptWoozle back again in the midst of building a game, continuing to build a reverse bullet hell. So I have a few pieces that I've made progress on at this particular point. I have the kind of some of the base mechanics of the game finished. And let's just kind of go ahead and run it here. So right off the bat, I've moved the game into basically a node server, and having it serve off as the first index. So let's go ahead and start up the app. And we can go ahead and open that in our browser. That is way too big. There we go. So let's go ahead and do localhost num 3000. There we go. So here we have our base game. Moves around by the AWSD keys. I implemented hit point bars on all of the creatures, and I implemented so you have your basic movement, your basic mobs or creatures, and levels, but I broke the levels, so it's not working quite right. And I did have a score, but let's take a look and see what the error is. Reference new level is not defined. Yeah, that's on me. Let me fix that real quick. That's on line 37. Let's fix that. Oh, that's on me. Yeah. So let's refresh you. Oh, I don't have node mon set up. So let's change you so that you're. There we go. So now changes should be refreshed. So I have the basic movement down. I've speeded things up a bit. I've given monsters their hit bars, and in the upper right hand corner I've added a scoring mechanism. Now each different animal or each different monster has its own score at this particular point. When you damage the player, or when the player runs into the monsters, it damages them. I've introduced a second type of monster that, as you can see, one hit doesn't kill it. It actually takes multiple hits, but they also do more damage to the player when they get hit. I still have a dash that was invented, so that's or added in, and I have it so that it randomly generates the monsters and spawns them randomly throughout the outside of the map or outside of the area for right now. So that's what I have in place so far. I don't have it displaying the levels, but I could. And so that's about where I'm at right now. The spacebar pauses the game. I haven't introduced any sound yet, but I have, I think, what I would say the general mechanics down. Let's take a look at what my plan is for today. So here's kind of my implementations that I've done. I've created the multiple monsters. I have the player sprites was fixed, no longer moves to the wall. I've created a hit point system for the monster, scoring system for the monster, and a hit point system for the player. And I've done the spike to create a monster. So the next piece that I want to work on is the implementation of the player death, so that when a player dies, it restarts the level. And then I want to implement levels 1 through 10, and then try to create a map. So 1 through 10, since I already have the leveling system in place, it should be pretty easy. What are these little? Yeah. So that's what we have so far. And yeah, let's implement the player death, and then go from here and do implement the player death, and then from here we'll go ahead and do other things. I'm sorry, player death, and then implement the levels. So I was in the midst of working on this already a little bit. Let's make sure that the terminal restarts if I make changes. So I have this code over here that says if the player hit point remaining is less than or equal to 0, then the player dies. And I created a listener. So what I did was create a universal listening system similar to others, which I call the state. And that listening system allows me to pass that state around to the other, I don't want to call them components, but to various functions and classes, and trigger the state. So when a player dies, it triggers to recreate the initial player and restart the level. I haven't tested that code yet. So let's come over here to our monsters. And let's create a few more monsters. And let's us cat types. Actually, I want cat breeds. So what I'm doing so far is I'm probably going to lean into the cats because I can, and keep using cat breeds for our monsters, and maybe eventually use cat images. Not these type of cat images, but I'll probably reach out to someone to help me create images. Let's make our next cat a Russian blue and a Savannah. So I'm going to up the amount of damage they do. So let's close you. Let's up the amount of damage that each of these cats do. Let's say your damage is 10, and damage is 10, 14, and damage is 20. Let's increase the damage for each of these, and let's add an additional one. So the one that I want to add, or the two that I'm going to add, is let's start with the Russian blue first. Let's bring you down a little bit so that I can see you. Otherwise, it gets really hard to see. So let's split over to the right. Let's say it will be a class. It's going to be a Russian blue. It extends cat. So for those who don't know, what I decided to do last time was create a factory pattern for our cat creation, or for the monster creation. So all of the monsters just extend our main cat class that we have here at the top. Now, at this particular point, the cats all have different, other things. So like the sizes and things are all different, but it extends the main cat and then uses the main cat factory pattern to recreate them. Well, that's really neat. I didn't realize you could keep the sizes different on each one. So we'll mimic the Scottish fold over here for the Russian blue. Let's make you guys really big, 45 pixels. Let's go at 55. Let's take the hit points from 10. I've been doing increments of like 2. So we'll make it 12 to start. Types, we need to add a cat type. It's going to be a Russian blue. And it's going to be Russian blue. So you have that. Then Russian blue. We got the diameter, the width, the size. We'll change the quantity up, but let's have you spawn every 5 seconds. Its speed is currently 1.5. We just kind of been graduating up. So 1.2, 1.5. Let's go to 1.7. Let's take its damage. So damage of 20, 14. Basically, his damage is double its hit points. So hit points for the Scottish hold were 10. The hit point 7, so we'll make you hit points of 15. Let me double check. Scottish hold, yeah, hit points 10, hit points 7. I'm sorry, the hit point should be 12. Yeah, and then damage should be 24. The death value just matches what its hit points are. And we need to change the color. Let's make you a lighter. Let's make you a purple. I don't know. Let's make you orange. Yeah, we'll go with orange. So the Russian blue, which is hilarious because it's called the Russian blue, but we're making it orange. It'll spawn every 5 seconds. And then let's make one more for Savannah. So we'll just copy you. And the class is Savannah. And it extends cat. Let's make the Savannah a bit smaller. So we have a couple different sizes up here. The Siamese is 30. Let's make you smaller than the Persian at 15. It's going to be Savannah is what we're going to call it. And what I'll probably do with this game is similar to some of my other projects where I'm going to build a large chunk of it and then I'll come back and get a lot of the pieces done and then refactor it. I just noticed that I had extra semicolons in there. I think all of them do. Yeah, let's fix that while we're here. Yeah, extra semicolons. Didn't even notice it this whole time. I don't know if that makes me a bad programmer, but this dot size is the Russian blue. Yeah, we know the code's duplicate. I guess we could make it so that it equals to this dot size as a default. And then the size equals 0. And then let's see if that works. Then I don't need to. Yeah, let's actually move all of these up into the main cat structure. And then I don't have to repeat this code. I only have to repeat the necessary code. Let's see if this works. If not, then we'll have to put it back. I don't know how if I feel that strongly about it. Mushroom blue. I don't have that many to remove it from at this point, so let's change this color. Orange. The Savannah. Let's make you a darker purple. We'll pass in the quantity. Let's make you spawn a bit faster at 1,500. Let's increase your speed to 2. Your damage, so for 12 hit points are going to be 15. Death value of 15. And the damage is going to be 30. So now we have our other 2 cats that we've created. Let's go ahead and add them to our factory here. So cat types dot Russian blue is going to be the class Russian blue, and the cat type of Savannah is going to be type Savannah. And right now we're adding them in. We'll probably add distinct images for each one of these as we go along. Let's format our code to keep it a little nice. There we go. Now we have to come over here to our monster constants. This is the thing that I'm using right here to create the cats. So here's our monsters. We have up to level 6 right now. Let's add a 7. And this kind of takes out 2 at the same time. 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we become, and I use the numbers here as a way of uniquely identifying them. Then I don't have to try to match it. So for 7, let's up the number of Siamese cats, and we may start introducing others. So what I've been doing is increases of 5. Have I? I should change this. So it should be 10, 20, 25, 30. This should actually be 35, 40, 40, wait, what happened? 35, 40, 45, 50, and then 55. So there's all those. So we'll do the same thing here. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Cool. Now for the Persians, we've been doing 5, 10, 15, 20. You also move up. So you're 25, 30, 35, 40. That's the number of Persians. So for the Scottish folds, we got 5. We're going to go up to 10. We're going to go up to 15, 20, 25. So that's cool. So when we get to 20 Persians, we add a new type. So we'll do the same thing here. When we get to 20 Scottish folds, we add a new type, and we'll add the Russian blue here for level 9. And then we will just simply upgrade it to 10 right here. And there's our 10 levels. There is potentially our death. Let's go ahead and pull out our game and refresh. Let's actually test out this damage. Ooh, I have messed up. It looks like it can't read the size. That means, can we do abstract? I guess we could, but I think if we do that, we would say this dot size equals 30. And I think that will overwrite it rather than keeping the size up there. So let's test and make sure that works. It does not. Well, that's terrible news. Okay. So let's leave you here. Let's swap you out here. And I guess these are some of the advantages of using things like C#, where you have much more abstract classes that you can kind of build on. Siamese cat. How do we want to do this? If we do that, will it still complain? Let's see. Let's bring you back. Great. We almost. I know. So let's do this. And equals size, and then as our constructor, we just pass in. We'll just hard code it. Yeah, we'll just hard code it for now. 45. But I do want to take a look at this because I think there might be a nicer way of doing this rather than passing it in as a super. But let's make sure that it works first. Yep, there we go. So now we have, we're back to our blue. Oh yeah, we need to test player death. So let's start taking some hits. And I implemented the functionality where every time you take a hit, as a player, you lose your bar a little bit. And it's supposed to change the level when you die. So let's see what happens. And oh no, that didn't work. All right, so let's take a look at what the error is. No, that's the list of cats. Current monster hit point is undefined on line 118. Monsters.js. 100. Wait, what? Oh, this is monster. Too many files named the same thing or similar. So we need to look at line 118, where we say current monster hit point is undefined. So I think that might be due to the fact that I don't pause the game. So I think I try to do some things. So the monsters list. So the idea when we clear the level is we remove all the monsters. And so I imagine what it's trying to do is it was in the midst of creating a monster and it's not there. So let's add in some logic to check for that. Or what else can we do? Or each, let's put a breakpoint here. So let's do this. Let's put a point here. If there's no single monster, then we'll just return. And I guess we could continue. But let's return for right now because we don't want to be in here because there's no monster. And yeah, if there's no single monster, then return. Let's see if that catches it. Let's come up here and refresh. Let's take a few hits to reduce our hit point bar. There we go. And I want to get to at least the second or third level. Why is because, and oh, I know, I left some code in here, so it actually jumps a level. It's supposed to be on level 2, not level 3, but that's fine. We'll fix that in a moment. We'll take some more damage here and make sure that our death code works. And does it? It does not. I'm still bred. What? So here's what happened. Is we got to here and there's no monster. What does it think? And it's because it's cleared already. Yes, I could just wrap it, but I feel like there's a better way to handle this in P5 play. I guess what I could do is the following. I guess the approach that I could take is to create a flag that determines that the player is dead. And if the player is dead, then we don't start looping through. I really could just go the easy way and just wrap an if statement around the current hit points. But I feel like that's an approach, but I don't think it's the only approach. Let me think about this a little bit. While I'm doing that, let's clean up my game logic here on the first level. So when we get an event listener to change the levels, we should just take the current, change levels to the new level, cool. And on the monsters.js, when we figure out that there's no monsters, we take the current level and we add +1 to it. Let's make sure you're a Boolean, or I'm sorry, an integer. So plus this level +1, which it should anyway, because it is. Well, we'll let it be. And then when we set it, we'll come back over here to our game, and we'll pass in the new level, and that will change the levels to the new level. When the player dies, we should start off by setting the player died to false. And we should do a check here that says, that checks player died. And if player died, so it will be set to true, we'll do this. Because what we're going to do is we're going to change it back to true, to false. So the player is dead. We reinitialize the player. But there's a brief point where the player might not be... fiddlesticks. So there's going to be a brief moment, it'll be very subtle though, where the player will not be dead. But I think what I need to instead do is, let's look at our restart level, where we remove all the monsters. So we go through, we get rid of all the monsters, we get rid of all the monsters' hit points. But while we're in the midst of doing that, oh, I know. We could create a variable up here in our constructor that says this dot pause creation. We'll call it pause display. And it's equal to false. And so what we'll do is we can say when someone says to restart the level, we can say this dot pause display is going to be equal to true. And once it finishes, we'll set you to false. But while we're removing all the monsters, we can do a check in our for loop. So when we're looping through, if this dot pause display, we just return. Let's see if that will do what we want. All right, the logic still works. Take some damage here, some damage here, take some damage here. Damage. 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 The other thing I should probably do is have it so the camera focuses on the player. Damage. Oof, still wrong. And I bet it's the same error. Yeah. We get it. I really can just say, I guess I should. All right. I don't like this approach, but I guess it's trying to get something. I wonder if it's trying to. We removed the monster. So the monster, when it gets hit, we remove the single monster. We remove the hit points. So there's none of this that should be happening. But let's just wrap it in a. Let's do this. Yeah. Let's see if that makes it happier. Don't like that approach though, but can't think of anything else right now off the top of my head. Let's take some damage and let's make sure that the player levels restart. Damage, let's kill some stuff. I'm not really good at these games, which is funny because I'm making one. I need to find a way to. So one of the things I noted was the intervals, even though the game stops, the intervals don't. So when I pause the game, the intervals keep running. I need to look at how that's going to come about. Oh. So it did generate a new player. But it didn't get rid of the old one. All right. So we need to come over here to our player def. Let's create a little function. We'll call it kill player. And we need to do player dot kill player, and we'll do gun dot kill gun. And we'll create the kill player method. So player hit, we'll add it down here. Kill player doesn't accept anything. What we do is we say this dot player object dot remove, and this dot player hit point bar dot remove. So we'll kill the player first, and then we need to kill the gun next. I'll come back over here to our game. Kill gun. Kill gun. And all it's going to do is this dot gun dot remove. All right. So we kill the gun. We kill that. Let's do kill player up here. I got to figure out what consequences I want to have. Kill player, create initial player, and restart the level. Okay. Oh yeah, let's look up. Let me add something to the list of bugs. Yeah, so come over here, bug, add card. When the game is paused, find a way to pause intervals. And I think there is. I think there is a way to do it. But let's finish this. I should display the level somewhere so that I can see that the player didn't increase their level when they died. Let's put you on the screen somewhere before I get too far. That way I can see what's going on. Let's go back to our game. Key pressed, manage score, update score, key released. There it is. Let's do a function in the upper left corner. Something along the lines of show level. And we can do let's do a stroke of black. That way we can see it. The text position, I want you to be at 0. No, that's too far over. Let's do 10. And I want you to display the current level. So we'll do similar to what we do up here. Update score. We don't want to always show the level. So let level equal initial level. Yeah, let's do that. Actually, we already have it. So yeah, we already have a variable. What am I thinking? A show level. And let's put you up here in here. Now what's funny is it feels like there's so much more stuff in here, but I think part of that is, yeah, there's level 1. Death. I don't know how many, let's see. We still only on level 1? I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. Yeah, we're definitely not on level 1 anymore. Let's die though. But it's not displaying our current level. You're equal to initial level. We are doing that. Current level equals the new level. So let's refresh. Death. Well, the mechanic did work to kill the character and create a new one. Let's see. All right. So Yep, there's level 2, so that's working. That's working. All right, cool. So we have the level logic working. I don't display the word level. I probably should. Let's double check our death logic here. Death, 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 death. We moved forward a level, which is not correct. So I see why it moved forward a level. The fact that there was nothing on the screen changed levels. So let's add some additional functionality into this. So the logic that I currently have in place says that if we go to our monsters.js, the logic that I currently have in place is it checks to see if the monster size is equal to 0, and then it changes the level. What I need to do is say that when the player is dead, don't change the level. So let's add in some logic in here. Yeah, let's say for the restart level, we'll create we'll create a player. We shouldn't create a one that's specifically for player dead. Well, we could. Let's just call it restarting level and set it to false as a variable. And then while so there still could be, there's a small chance that when there's no and we do a soft monster reset, there's still a small chance that it will advance us a level. So let's give it a try though. But I'm concerned that while my concern is as follows, there's a point where right after resetting the level or restarting the level when a player dies, that there's going to be a brief point in time where there are going to be no monsters on the screen, and it will attempt to then advance the level. If this monster size is equal to 0 and we're not restarting the level, then elevate to the next level. All right, so let's test out this logic. And while I'm here, just because I can, let's actually have it display the words level. Let's use string interpolation. We'll use this, we'll say this, and we'll say level colon in space. So let's refresh the screen. There it is, level 1. Take some damage, take some damage, take some damage. The damage logic, I think, I'm happy that that's working all right. And the removal logic seems to be working pretty well. So let's take some more damage. There we are. We've leveled 2. Our score seems to be working. So now we just have to kind of get this player death down. Player death, death. We still advanced to level 3. I think the better approach is, let's kind of create a bit of a queue, maybe, that says if the player is dead and there's nothing on the screen, then don't advance the level. Because otherwise it's going to advance the level. And we only check for completion when a monster dies. And we also check for completion when this. So what we should probably do is, it's fine to check for it when the creature dies. But what we should probably do is have our player hit logic that says if the player is hit and they die, we can return true. Otherwise, return false. And what's that going to do for us is as follows. So the logic is going to be that the player gets hit in monster. Const player is dead. So we'll find out whether the player is dead. We still want to delete. We actually don't need to delete the monster. We don't need to do any of this. And we can just say if player is dead, return. That way the rest of the logic will just be ignored. We don't have to do the check there. So it'll check and just say whether the player is dead or not. So let's restart. While we're here, keep doing little things. Level, we will put the words score up here. Use our curly bracket. All right. So, yeah, there we go. Let's move you over a little bit, though. Score of 700. Let's make you 680. Let's refresh. Yeah, there we go. So there's enough space. We see our level there. Yeah. So, it's 856. It looks like we may be able to get the player death done, and we might have time to start poking at our map creation to build to add on a map. I'll probably make it a fairly generic map to start. But there's our level 2. And there's actually take damage. I actually don't know why I'm checking for... I do know why I'm checking for completion. Because there's a possibility that the player will take damage. There we go. It restarted. Now we're back to level 2. Now I don't really have any consequences right now for the player when they die. And I'm not quite sure what I want to implement. I think that aspect I want to think about. I feel like some of my logic is a little all over the place, though, so I want to reanalyze that at one point. But let's see, game-wise, I think we're okay. I think we're okay for right now. So we've implemented the majority of the game logic. Let's take that back. I've implemented some of the game logic. Let's double check and make sure that all of you continue to work. There's our dash. And let's hit a few of these guys. Let's make sure that our levels continue to work. I don't have an in-game setup. And I don't have any lives. So I have to figure out how that... And then the question is do I want to implement other characters? There's just so many questions that I have. There's our level 4. So I think we're good in terms of just testing. I'll leave the more thorough testing to a little bit later. Let's take a look at something. Let's see if there's a way to pause intervals. Let's see if we can pause a set interval function. You could use a flag to keep track of the sections. Hmm. So there might be. I think that's something that I'll need to implement because I implemented. So the feature for the monsters is on an interval. It's in monsters.js, and what I do is I create a little intervals, system. And I imagine that what I need to do is when the game is paused, I have to maybe try to find a way to save whatever the current intervals are around. But there's an interval for every single monster. That's going to get a little tedious. Not every single monster, but there's a interval for all the monster types. So for the Siamese, so forth and so on. So I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. Let me think about that a little bit, and I may even ask ChatGPT for some assistance on that one. In the meantime, we can say that the implement of the levels and the player death have both been implemented at this particular point. So let's go ahead and create our checkout and merge this into our main. Now, again, I've been trying to approach this from a development perspective as if I were on the development team. So I'm going to get checkout, and I've been just using the number up here as our tracker. So I'll just use that as the player death. Yeah, implement player death. So let's grab you. Get checkout dash B. Man, sometimes like I'll click and it won't register. Like it'll be like, nope, you didn't click on that screen. You'll be like, what? But I did. We'll get at dot. We'll do commit dash m. Let's change this insert. Implemented player death and added levels up to 10. And we'll push. And there we go. Again, this is completely free, so please feel free to pop by GitHub and leave comments, good or bad. And, let's go over here. And what I do is I attach to players. I attach to the death. I attach to the Trello ticket, the branch. So, go. Let's close that, and I'm going to move these over to the done column. So, whoops, wrong screen. Yeah, I just moved those over to the done column, and let's start working on create our first map. Let me go ahead and go to GitHub, merge everything, and then switch over to main. We'll create a pull request. I'll create the pull request. We should be good since I'm the only one working on this project. Confirm our merge. And everything's been merged. So let's switch over to main. Git checkout main. And let's get pull. We've got all of our data. Let's start on the map. Now, I've never done mapping in P5 Play before, so I've been kind of looking at a few videos here and there to try to see how things are done, and just going from there. So we have all of our monsters. Let's kind of close out of things. Let's close up all our tabs. And I'm not sure how I want to do the maps. I imagine that in a similar vein, what I'm going to do is kind of keep a folder over here, new directory maps. So we'll keep a folder for our maps, and what we'll start to do is we'll have JavaScript load in the maps that are in the folder. Now I don't want to say that it's the most amazing thing in the world, but I'm a little uncertain of a few things. So, but also while I'm here, I have a question on JavaScript. can JavaScript classes overwrite parent variables? I thought that let's see if that's even possible. This dot name, get name. Yeah, we can. Let's see. Let's take a look. So this dot speed equals 0, and then this dot speed overriding a method. So I have the overriding a method, but I don't see us overriding. Yeah, that's fine, but I want to overwrite target the ear length. So it looks like we can, but we'd have to say this dot every time. So yeah, we could either pass it in as the size, which is what we're doing now, or just overwrite it completely in the constructor. And I don't know if I care that much. So I think this will be all right to start. Let's take a look at our constants. Let me take a drink real quick too. I'll probably up all of these numbers for our factory, but let's look at some examples of how to create P5 play map. Let's see, tile map. So somebody's done video on it, where yeah, what you would do is you would do a new tiles like this, and I think, and I guess this is how you display them. And so the brick layout. Let's see. Yeah, so that's doing that. This is all a little new to me, so you'll have to give me a moment. We create the canvas, which we already have done. We're going to widen our canvas at one particular point. And actually, while we're doing this, we're going to do the following things. Let's close up all of our tabs. I don't want to generate anything. I just want to play around with the map. So we're not going to do a background color. We're not going to display the player, the gun, or the monsters for right now. We are not going to create the initial player. I will create the walls though. Do I not create the gun until? Oh yeah, I guess I don't. Let's run this and see what happens. NodeMon. Cool. So we have our blank level. And let's see what it takes to generate kind of a tile. Again, this is really all new to me. So we've got a new group, tiles, bricks. So this is the setup. Now I've seen some other people, but let's copy this code for right now. And let's create a function to show map. Let's create one down here. We'll show the map, and we'll say Yeah, yeah, we'll do this. We'll say create some variables up here, similar to what they did. So we have that that's now available. And doesn't look like we need to do anything in the draw. Looks like it'll automatically do that. So just in our setup, we would just add in here show map. So let's see what that looks like. There it is. So what we would probably do is overlay that map over top of everything. But let's take a look. There are a couple other people that have done P5 tiling. So let's see. P5 play tile map. And someone's done a really cool, like, yeah, here we go. So this is this gentleman. Shout out to Robert Duarte. Let me put his YouTube channel. So I've been trying to be more, make sure that I shout out, people and resources that have helped me do things. Some of the resources I've used. So let's put a point in here. Tiling in P5 play with, what's his name? Rob Duarte. I believe it's bracket. Where's it? Parentheses. I think it's this. But let's do this instead. It looks like we can just highlight and then say link. There we go. I was wrong. There we go. I used. There we go. So the tiling by Robert. So it looks like if we move it forward a bit, does this. I wonder if he includes. He doesn't. So one of the things that makes me grumpy when I look at people's YouTube videos, and I can't, who am I to complain per se? I'm doing something similar. Is they don't include like a GitHub. So I can't ever see like, how did you do this thing? I'm just kind of caught with, all right. So we're not going to load any images for right now, but we could. We're not going to create the avatar, but we do have our tiles. And similar to what they did, we'll let the tiles be random as they are. 0, 1, 0, 1. Yeah, let's swap you out over here. Let's use the @ sign. I like that. And it looks like we would need to set the collider to none for right now, but we'll play around with that. Tile image, we're not going to use that. 1 by 1 by 1. Let's make the tile size. Let's make you 32. And let's build in. Now we might play around with some of these tiles at one point, but let's make you pretty big. So let's build our walls. How big does that look though? Let's see. Let's actually see how big this makes everything look. Let's refresh. That breaks some stuff. What did I break? What did I break? Tile is not found. Tile, tile, tile. Tile is not found. Bricks. Tile size. Are you even running? Terminal. Yeah, you are. All right. So you're working, but I've broken something. Tile not found. The error I get. Tile is not found. I think it's in here. Let's see what happens when we do this. Refresh. I don't see any tiles. So let's do that. Bricks with, let's make a bunch of them and see what it looks like. And then kind of go from there. Where are my bricks? They are not there. I have done something wrong. Tile equals that. Tile size equals 32. Bricks width plus 4. Let's try what they did. So they did 0, 0, 1, 1. 0, 0, 1, 1. And let's refresh. Well, that's a terrible bunch of bricks. They're massive. Let's do bricks tile size of 16. And let's see. I see. All right. Hold on. He didn't set a width or a height. So that might be why. Yep, there it is. And if we do a tile size of 32, that's better. That's still a massive map. And that's because I have walls set up. But let's take away our walls. Do we want to take away our walls? Do I? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know just yet. Let's take a look with height tiles. Can we set a layer? I think we can. Bricks dot layer should be equal to 0. And I don't know if we can. Well, let's do this. So we have a bunch of @ signs. We have that. Let's mimic what they did and make it a specific color. Let's do bricks dot color. Is it color? Hold on. I don't remember. I moved everything out into separate classes, and then I don't remember what I did. Yeah, it's color. So we'll just play around with some of this. So we can say bricks.color is equal to, and we'll use this type of stuff. We'll do green. Why don't you change it for me? There we go. We'll make you like a soft green. There we go. Let's see what this looks like. There we go. Let's make you pretty wide. So right now you're at 32. Let's add a few more layers to make you the full width to kind of see what that looks like. I think when we make our canvas, if we don't set a canvas size, it will go full screen, won't it? Yeah, there we go. We have lines. So let's take away our wall creation for right now. Let's see where we reference walls in here. We're not using that. Yeah, okay, we're good. So if we refresh, there's our massive wall. And let's take a look at see how this other person did it. Again, shout out to Rob Duarte. Pixelated X2. I think when we do in Pixel, let's take a look here in P5 Play. Let's open up a second tag, because I think there's a way in which you create the canvas. Canvas, yeah. The canvas constructor creates, add another feature, will letterbox canvas to fix. So let's letterbox you. Instead of saying create canvas, we can just say, if no parameter, yeah, let's do new canvas. Let's see if I broke it. Come back here, refresh. Nice. It letterboxed it for me. And then you stretch the full way. Okay. So, now he did pixelated X2. But I like full screen where you're bigger. Let's make you a little smaller though. Let's make canvas size of 1024 by 768. Because not everyone has massive screens. I happen to. So let's divide you. What is it? 1024 divided by 32 equals 32. So it won't let me count. Oh, there it is. So 43 characters. And let's see. 33, 32. There we go. Let's take a look at what that looks like. You're one off. So there we go. So now you should stretch the full way across the screen. Cool. And so now we know kind of what our background and everything should equal. So let's clear out some stuff here. So our background color is now going to be black. What? Yeah, that's fine. So our background color is now going to be black. And let's fill up our screen with our green bars for right now. And then, oh yeah, we have to figure out, so 768 divided by, what size did I say this was? 32, yeah. So 24 down. So so we're at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I think that's too many though. It feels like it's too many, but let's see. It does. It feels like, no, I'm not. It's not too many. It is not. So if we do one more layer, and refresh. Yeah, there we go. So here's our grid. I think I want to use, is 32 all right? What if we did 30? It feels like there's one off. No, it doesn't. Yeah, let's just leave it at 32. So let's start filling in this space with stuff. So there's our block. There are a couple things that I'm going to want to change now. One, I'm going to want to move the player somewhere in the center of the screen. The camera should be following the player, but it's not. It is letterboxing it though. But I'm just worried about people with smaller screens. So, but let's play around with this map. Let's create some space in the center. All right, let's see how that looks like. Nice. Yeah, so then let's replace everything that we have so far. And then we can start worrying about like other designs. So we have our first map here. And we probably, for me, 1024 by 768 is kind of small. But I think we can play around with different resolutions and see how that looks. 1024 by 768. Okay, let's refresh. Nice. So there's our little grid. How did we handle our walls before? Collider equals static. So let's do collider equals static. Equals static. And let's try to start the creation of just moving around. So we're not creating the walls. We do need to create the initial player though. So let's create the initial player, then pass on the walls. Let's go over to that. Let's take you away. There's no walls. Control F for walls. We don't need you anymore. Cool. We don't want to get rid of it just yet, but you know, voila. And so we don't have a new create the gun to. So let's try creating the initial player. Let's see if there's any more references to walls that we need to worry about. Nope, only when creating the monsters. So let's see what happens when we refresh. Let's see. Looks like we might potentially have an error. So let's refresh again. Yeah, nope. So it's not quite right. Let's take a look at our player creation. So it looks like the better way is to say this dot player object dot width is going to be equal to player width, and this dot player object dot height is going to be equal to player height, and then just let new sprite take care of its placement in the center of the screen. So let's refresh. There it is. And the same thing for this hit point bar. So it will place it in the center. And it's going to be equal to this dot player object. Wait, hold on. Let's not rush. Height is going to be equal to 10. We should not hard code that at one point. This dot player hit point bar is going to be dot width is going to be equal to this dot hit point width. And this dot player hit point bar dot collider is going to be equal to static. Okay, so there we have that. That's the height and that's the width. But let's say this dot hit point bar dot position dot y is going to be equal to this dot player object dot position dot y minus 40. And so the sprite will be there. We'll move that there. All right. And so let's refresh and see what happens with that. But it's not quite right. Position Y. Yep, nope, it's almost right. And then the gun is equal to new sprite diameter. Okay, so then as soon as we start it, we're not doing player display and we're not doing gun display. So now, there we go. Let's see if we can go through these walls though. We cannot. Yay! So we've created our first map, and we can move around it. Does the gun seems to work? Let's add some objects here and see whether we can get around them. I don't even know where to begin. Let's just add something right here. And something here. Bricks.tile. But I think we can use different colors. Let's see what happens. Let's try this. Bricks tile group. Let's call it let. That's so much easier too. So we'll say let gun. We don't have any walls, but we do have monsters. Cool, cool, cool. Moves you all over into one line. Walls will go away. Bricks. Let's call them center bricks. Center bricks. And then we'll come down here to our bricks. And we'll say u bricks equals new group. And center bricks dot tile should be equal to the hashtag. And then the tile size. So all the rest of this stuff will be that. Let's make you a brown. Yeah, let's give that a try. Let's make you a brownish color. What is that? Like a, what is brown? Is it just orange? Yeah. Yeah, I guess it is just an orange. Yep, let's try that. Static, new tiles. And let's see what happens when we do that. I have never done this before. So, hey! Nice. And so then we'll start having some objects in the center. So we've done our first terrible map. Let's add in a couple more random items. Let's go on the screen. And I think what I'll probably do is use a random generator for some of these, but maybe not. So there we have our first map, and we have the item. We have things that move around inside of it. Now we need to create. I don't think we need walls anymore. So let's get rid of all of our walls references. Create walls, you're gone. We have a wall.js here. Let's get rid of you. Done. And let's come back over here to our game. We don't need a walls just yet. We're done with walls. We keep our background color black. We don't need to create walls here anymore. You're done. You're not going to pass in any walls. We'll see how that works. I don't know yet. I don't know how it's going to work without walls for the I guess we would need to pass in our map. I don't know how that's going to work. I guess we would spawn them inside the center points, then not on the edges. Let's do a couple of things. Let's, one, just because it's annoying the dickens out of me, let's move our score over. Because it's just, for some reason, it's annoying me. Pause game, show map, update score, show level. Let's move you over. So I did 1024. So what I did before was it was 800 minus, what is it, 680. That was about 120 pixels. So 1024 minus 120 pixels. Because I'm not good at math like I should be 904. And we'll actually move you just a hair to the left for that. So let's say 15. A little bit more. 17 and 31. And a little bit further down, 32. 34? Now I'm moving the level down. And score, you're fine where you are. Let's move you down to 34 as well. There we go. So score is where it is, level is where it is. That's fine. Let's deal with the monster creation, because the monsters are created. And I have a width of 1024 by 768. I could put those inside. So let us see what happens. Let's come over here to our monster constants. Nope. Let's come over here to our monsters and how we generate them. So I use a random generator to generate the monsters, where I kind of went just outside of our 801 or 800. So we need to go. So it was 800 and 800. So our X is now, what's our max X? The maxes, the minimums are fine, but the max X is going to be 1024. But it was 1025. So it's 801. And then it's going to be the same thing down here, and down here. No, that's not quite right. So that's X. And then X. But then Y is 769. and 769. Let's see if that generates our monsters. Let's see if we need to worry about the walls. We don't have any walls. What do we do with our walls anyway? I think I'm going to need to pass along the brick pieces. So we are probably going to need to... I'm going to have to see how dynamic loading works for this, aren't I? I am. Because I don't know how... so we pass in our level. And then we say for our walls. So this dot overlaps walls, this dot overlaps walls. We pass in the initial level. We could create kind of a universal level, but how about right now? What we do is on the game level, we have all of this. I completely forgot. We can just put you all on one giant line. Bricks and center bricks. So when we create a monster, for our initial monsters, we'll pass in the current level, and let's create a simple map. I mean, it's really going to be a list. There's no reason, so it can just be an array. We'll call it construction materials. And construction materials is just going to consist of const construction materials is going to be equal to bricks and center bricks. And what we'll do is, rather than pass them in individually, we'll pass in the initial level and the construction materials. Construction materials, and this dot construction materials is equal to construction materials. We'll do the following here where we do walls. We'll say if this dot construction materials and this dot construction materials dot length is greater than 0. I wonder if we could do this as 1. Then we got to loop through all of them. Then this dot construction materials dot for each. Yeah, we're just for each. Just loop through for each. We'll loop through all the construction materials as a simple material, and we'll say new monster dot this dot overlaps material. And let's see if this will work. Yeah, let's see if this approach works. I'm not confident in it. So we pass in our construction materials. Let's double check there's no more references to walls anywhere. Let's do a whole check for everything. Walls. Nope. We're good. Let's refresh. Ooh, nope. Generated the monsters, but they're not. Nope, that didn't work. did I do something wrong? I think I did something wrong. Let's go over here to monster. So, new monster. What did we have before? Yeah, we had that same thing. New monster, hit point that overlaps. Material. Then I wonder if we need to do this. And generate the map first. Nope. Nope, it is so unhappy about a thing. Uncaught error. Oh no, something was wrong using sprite overlap. You're trying to check for an overlap with a sprite or group that doesn't exist. Show. So we show the map. It generates all of this. And then we pass in the materials, which should work. Maybe what I need to do is this. So it might be an initiation or initialization problem. So let's refresh. Well, that's not great. It's not overlapping. But we do have the bricks. It didn't give me an error though, so I guess that's better. I don't think that's better. I mean, I think it's just different. All right, let's take a look at something. So we didn't get that issue anymore. So the next time we change levels, I know that what I'm going to need to do is create our materials first, and then come over here to monster.overlaps. Unless I have it overlap. How do I want to do this? New monster, new hit points, overlaps material. Why don't you work though? I wonder if we need to create custom colliders. And set you to, maybe we need to set you to static. Let's see. Maybe we do need to set you to static. All right, let's give that a try. Okay, so you kind of work. Kinetic. So let's do that. Yeah, collider. So the ball goes through the wall, but let's see if it handles the deletion. Nope. And it's not moving toward the player anymore, which is weird. I guess the logic that I may have to incorporate is that when it once it's outside of the wall, that it once it's outside of the wall, that it move towards player.player object. Yeah, you should be doing this. Oh. I actually have to display everything. run my display code. So that will allow them, so they move towards, but they no longer collide. They just hang out here in the center. How do I want to do that? Let's pause you for right now. Let me think this through. So if we take away our collider, they won't move through the wall. But maybe they will. Let's see. Now that this is set to overlaps. Are you? There's one. Here's two. There we go. Let's refresh. There we go. So now everything seems to generally be working. All right. We have ways of kind of blocking off, except that they move through walls. Oh, that's right, because once I think the better approach is for once they get past the wall. Yeah, let's change that. So once they get past the wall, how would we check for that? How would we check for that? We could do a position check. But that means there'll be a very brief period where, yeah, so let's, once the object is inside a certain square, loop through the monsters. I wonder if there's another way to do this. I'm unsure. I'm not going to quite, I'm going to call it a win for now. Win is a win, you know what they say. But I think what I'm going to do is create a bug that after they move through the wall, or again, I could always just have them spawn inside the wall. I don't know how others games do it. Let's take a put a pin in it, as they say. We'll leave the bug of when going through a wall. Change monster collision, wall collisions after going through the wall. And now P5 Play does have something similar to this. So I imagine there's some way to add some logic into it. So we have our tiles working. We generally have that. Pixelated mode. I don't know if I want pixelated mode. Let's go along with canvas, P5 Play, sprite. And why isn't the camera working? Gravity, camera.move to. I could have swore that I set the camera in here. Give me 1 second. Oh, I guess I didn't. So yeah, let's set this up. Handle player movement dot speed, and then create player display. Yeah. So camera.x is equal to this dot player object dot position dot x. Same thing, we'll do the camera y. Let's see how that looks over here. Yeah, there we go. This is what we want. So now it kind of stays with the player so they can't see everything. It's not bad. All right, so we do have some stuff in play, but I need to figure out what we want to do about that logic. Let's take a double check on, let's zoom. Ooh, and let's zoom. One, I'm just playing with things. Let's change the zoom to 2. So they can't see everything. That's a little too zoomed in. So let's do 1.5. Let's do 1.5 on the zoom. I think that'll be a little bit better. Let's look at a couple of other things. On, off. I don't want to turn the camera off. I do want to play around with sprite collisions. Oh, I'm the idiot. I don't want to allow all construction materials. So the center bricks, don't allow them to pass through. So that's all I had to do. I'm just not thinking. Look at me being an idiot. Let's refresh. There we go. So then we have these, so we can kind of hide behind the bricks here. Awesome. So let's generate a couple levels then. So that's all right. That's all right. Let's, before I finish off for the evening, let's up our monster count. And let's say 10 to 20. Let's do 30 instead. So that means we're going to up you to 40. I got salt on my hands, which means I got salt on the keyboard. Oh, fiddlesticks. All right, so yeah, 30, 40, 50. Let's start you off at a higher number of, say, 20 then. Let's do 60 here. 30. Let's do 70. And 40. Let's do 80. 50. And let's start you off with 20. So 2 levels, then add new 1, 2, 3, 2 levels, then we added 1, which is, so that's 2 levels. I think we should introduce the Scottish folds a little earlier. So Scottish folds 20, yeah. So then we do 80, 50, 30. So that's 2 levels of Scottish folds. Then let's add in the Russian blue. So Scottish fold is introduced twice. We did Persian twice. So Siamese, Siamese, then introduced the Persian. Then we did Persian, Persian, introduce the Scottish fold. Then we did Scottish fold, introduce the Russian blue. And the first of the Scottish, so 20, so you should be 20 as well. No, sorry, you should be 40, and you should be 20 for the Russian blues. So 80, let's increase all of our numbers. 90, 60, 40, 70, 80, 50. So you're at 90, 60, 40, 20. This takes you up to 100. You're at 70. You're at 50. You're at 30. So we got 2 Russian blues and Russian blue, Russian blue. So on this level, Persians 70, 80, 60, 40, and now we have to introduce one more cat type at 20, and that's going to be types.savannah. The introduction of the Savannah. Nice. And then we have our last level 10, which is going to be 120, 90. My Scottish fold 70, 50 Russian blues, 30 Savannahs. Nice. So here we have our initial setup. Let's go ahead and refresh for right now and see what happens. So we can kind of see everything. We can move around. We have our character. Yeah, so here we go. Not bad. Right now, this is a fine pace. We'll start off pretty easy. So, no, I don't think this is bad. Not a bad start. I have it so that the center bricks don't get moved. And we'll probably swap out the center bricks with other things and use different backgrounds, so forth and so on. So here's the start of my... Nice. So we're on level 2 now. I think I'll put this out there. I think I've hit a good general stopping point for this particular game. At least today, just today. We've got monsters spawning with hit points. We have our dash. We have death of the player if it happens. We've sped things up. We created 2 more monsters, though they're just dots for the moment. We'll swap those out. We created our first map for today. And so once I'll need to add some more maps and see how we can change those so that works. But it looks like the approach is, I think once they're set, we can swap them out pretty easy. So yeah, now we're on level 3. and I'm going to have someone test this for me. So that won't be so bad. So yeah, I made the first few levels pretty easy. And then what's going on, Dropbox? Let's test out what happens. Yep, when we die, level 3 restarts. So yeah, I think that's a good spot for right now. I'm going to have someone test this out real quick. But this is what I have so far. So far, I don't see many errors in the JavaScript. It seems pretty speedy as well, but we'll see what happens when we get more items on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and commit my code for right now. I've already got so the monsters don't collide through the wall. I still have to figure out a way to, when the game is paused, find a way to pause intervals. I'm actually going to move it. It's a bug, but I'll work on it next time, which is Friday. I've created the first map, and so now the next steps are to create some additional maps and have those load and be a thing, and then start creating more complexity with the maps. And then we'll start adding some additional neat features. So like having it so that the player can level and so forth and so on. And start looking at some of the more nuanced pieces of the game. Now, I understand that other people might say that's not true. Like, the nuance is super important. But, like, you want your bullet hell to, like, at least function. So you want the general mechanics to kind of be in place. And since I had never done one before, I wanted to kind of build all those pieces together. Here we go. Everything's generally good. Let me take a look at something. Cacao talk. All right, yeah. So let me just stop right there. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I appreciate your time. I'm gonna go ahead and clean things up, commit my changes, and oh yeah, I need to update Twitch with this GitHub information so that people can kind of check it out, leave terrible comments, etc. So thank you very much. This is CptWoozle signing off. It is 10:07 p.m. on January 24th, 2024. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Take care. Be safe.